Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to make a grapevine wreath using these florals. I always start by prepping my supplies, and right now I'm just trying to determine which side of the wreath I wanted to use. Now I'm going to prep my greenery and my florals. I'm just going to fluff them out and clip them off from the stem. I wanted to use individual pieces. I'm going to be placing these into the wreath one at a time. So I start by clipping the greenery from the stem, and I'm going to put that to the side, and then I'm going to work on my florals. I had a lot of these supplies left over from previous projects, and I just wanted to use them up and make a pretty spring wreath. So I'm going to start with the greenery first. I'm going to go all the way around the wreath, individually gluing each one of them in place. I love this greenery pick. It has a little bit of everything in it. As I'm placing the greenery onto the grapevine wreath, I am manipulating them. These are very easy to bend and manipulate and get them exactly the way I want them. Some of the longer ones I did add wire to. I just wanted them to kind of lay flat down. I didn't want them flopping around. I was trying to get the wire to go through the grapevine wreath, and I didn't really succeed. So what I did was I took the wire, because you can't see it anyway, and I wrapped it around the whole wreath frame. I just want the longer ones to have some extra security so they're not going to fall off. The wire I'm using I did purchase from the Dollar Tree, and it's a 26 gauge wire. My goal for this wreath is to do everything in layers. So I am starting off with the greenery, then I will move in with my florals. I'm just going to keep going until I make my way all the way around the wreath frame. Here's one of those longer pieces again. So I just took the floral wire, wrapped it all the way around the wreath, twisted it off in the back, and tucked it back into the grapevine. Whenever you're adding your greenery or your florals to a grapevine, you don't want to just stick it all the way through it. You want to put it in at an angle. I do hit certain spots with my glue gun just to make sure it's not going to move. Now I'm going to go in with my blue florals. I do trim some of them before I place it into the grapevine, and they do go in very easily, and I kind of bend them up. So I'm fluffing as I go. I always kind of step back and look at the wreath and just try to figure in my head where I want to place my florals. I did purchase these blue florals from Walmart. Okay, now that I'm done with the blue layer, I'm going to go in with the white. These were also some stems that I had left over from previous projects. I'm just going to keep going until I make my way all the way around the wreath. I was going for a more airy look to this grapevine. Now I'm going to go in with my red layer. You always want to just step back and look at your wreath as you're going, and this way you'll find any holes that you possibly need to fill. This is where I'm kind of taking a step back. I want to look at the wreath as a whole and see if I can make any improvements to it. There was one stem that was kind of sticking up a little too far for me, so I just clipped it off. Now it's time to make our bow. I always use the same method. I'm going to use a zip tie and a pipe cleaner. I am going to make a hand-tied bow today. I start with one tail up, pinch it in the middle. I'm going to twist the ribbon, make a loop, bring it around. I'm going to pinch it in the middle again. You want to pinch and gather. We'll make the loop and then bring it back to the middle and pinch and gather. Next, I wanted to use this sheer white ribbon that I had. It is wired. All my ribbons are wired. So I start with the tail up, pinch it in the middle, make my loop, bring it to the middle, pinch it again, and then make my second loop. I do stagger my loops down, so the thicker ribbon, the one that I started off with first, is going to have longer loops. Next, I'm going in with a ribbon I purchased from the Dollar Tree, and it's in their wedding section, and it's a white satin with a gold trim on the edges. But here I'm going to do the same thing, start with the tail up, pinch in the middle, make my loops, and trim it off. Now I'm going to take my zip tie around the middle of the bow. I'm going to put it on my workstation. I'm going to start the zip tie, but I'm not going to crank it all the way down. I bring the zip tie to the back of the middle of the bow, and I'm going to place my pipe cleaner in the zip tie. This way I have a way of attaching it to my wreath. Now I'm going to fluff my bow. This is also called breaking the bow. I do trim the thinner ribbons at a slant, and the thicker ribbons I am going to dovetail. Once I'm satisfied with my bow, I'm going to place it on the wreath. I just keep fluffing it until I feel like it looks right. Now I'm going to clean up my workstation and grab my wreath. Here I was trying to determine where I wanted my bow to go, so I'm going to move the florals and wrap the pipe cleaner all the way around the base of the wreath. I'm going to twist tie the pipe cleaners in the back, and I'm going to trim it and then poke them back into the grapevine. Now that I have the bow on the wreath, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to fluff it up a little bit more and trim tails if I need to. The more I looked at the wreath, the more I thought there was a little too much blue. It was a little overwhelming, so I wanted to add little pops of yellow. I'm just going to keep going with the yellow all the way around the wreath. Okay, folks, this is my completed project. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.